Sagittarius, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-February 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes into energy and see what's happening for the lovely Sagittarius collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Saggies in mid-February? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. So let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Saggy in mid-February. What's the vibe? What's the energy? And I hope you all had a very happy Valentine's Day. As you can see, I'm in the spirit over here. I always like to switch up the backgrounds whenever possible. And yeah, cool. So this energy seems kind of chill to me. So hopefully that's the energy you're in. And it's not like what I was seeing in the Aries reading where it was like a little bored. But the energy seems cool. It seems to be minding its own business. It seems to be laying low. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards the end. So you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. And I just love the visual language of this card, right? We see this lovely lady. She has the wig on. She has a little costume. And she's blending in with this group of like cranes or storks. And I always say, I don't know what species they are. But what I do know is she is trying to blend in with them. So normally, yeah, as mentioned, it's a card that's trying to lay low. I don't think we're talking about illusion or secrecy here. It's just an energy that's in its own lane, doing its thing, minding its own business. So for a lot of Saggies, maybe that's just the mode you're in right now, where it's like, yep, I'm just doing my own thing. Don't want to be bothered. It's like one of those. Now, for another portion of you, maybe someone you're connected to might be laying a little low, not trying to make waves, not trying to start something. It's usually good. There's another message here, like, of course, just watch out for people trying to like pull you into stuff. I always say that with this card, especially if it's laying low. Hopefully it's not an avoidant type of energy too, because for some Sagittarius, maybe there's something where it's like, I'll handle that another time. The good thing, this does also tie into aesthetics. I know that's a totally different message than what we were talking about already, but I always think of this card as beautiful. So for some Saggies, appearances, how you present yourself, you might be changing something about your hair or your body or just wardrobe. It's how I present myself to the world. So there's a great energy around that. But we're going to let her chill out. She wants to chill with the birds. She can. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Saggy. What do we got? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was a really nice one. The reading was titled A Massive Karmic Blessing, not just a regular one, a massive one. And I always say wins, victories, blessings, they always come in all different shapes and sizes. This one felt pretty big. So if something didn't really pay off for you or come in, or something you've been manifesting, if that didn't come in yet, to me it felt like the energy is like on the highway, on its way to you right now, which felt good. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for my Saggy friends. What's happening? Thank you. Okay, Queen of Cups. Tender. That's a very tender, softer type of energy. I like the Queen of Cups. Now, again, for some of you, that might be an individual you're connected to. But we just have to sing. Remember, it's not gender specific. Let's get 2 more. Let's get 2 more here. Thank you. Queen of Swords. Now, there's a lot of people for some reason. Okay. Let's get that tucked in. 1 more. Lots of queens, lots of internal energy. That's why I said there's a tenderness. And then we have the devil himself. Peculiar, my good friends. Like, that energy seems out of place for one reason or another, and I did see that in the Aries reading as well. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, there's a lot happening here, and I always like to look at the elements first, which to me is very important. It tells us how the energy is flowing or the areas of life that we might want to focus on. And you have a pretty good split here. It's like we have water, air, and earth. So it's not too lopsided one way or another. But position number one, we're starting with the water element with the Queen of Cups. Now, water to me represents the internal realm, the emotional realm, things or people or situations that we're emotionally invested in and that we care about. Water also ties in heavily to creation and expression. It's very artistic and it's really in touch with its emotions. So there is a tenderness here. But the downside to water energy is that it's always ebbing and flowing. It's always up and down and back and forth and in and out. So we want to keep an eye. In the center, we have the Queen of Swords. Swords, that's air. So different, whereas this one might be matters of the heart. Swords are matters of the mind. It represents a logical, pragmatic type of energy where it could be talking about strategy and planning, and it's just very much information based. So again, not a bad thing. It's like we have the heart and mind action going on right here. So we'll peel into that a little bit further. Ties heavily into communication and knowledge in general, or information that you might be thirsting for. But the downside to swords, it could be a little flaky, right? It's an energy that there's not a lot of staying power, and it could like really just, here 1 second, gone the next. And it could also be very stern and sharp and serious. On the back end, we have Earth, total opposite of these energies. Whereas like these energies in the front are more pliable and movable, Earth energy is there, right? Like it could represent our feelings of security and stability. Earth can represent our day-to-day life, our day-to-day routines. Earth energy ties in heavily to work, home, family, business, anything material world based. When I see Earth, that's what I think of. But the thing I find interesting about this spread so far is that like all of these energies are like a double dose of the suit. And let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, the Queen of Cups. Now, I always say when it comes to all queens, they represent the internal aspect of the suit. So, what we just speak about with the Queen of Cups, the emotions, the feelings, things we care about, there's a certain tenderness. So, the Queen of Cups, the emotional aspect of the emotional suit, is a double down of that emotional energy. Now, for some of you, this could just be a water sign that you're connected to. So, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, could be any of them. Other traits I think of, if we're not talking about a water sign, is it's very expressive emotionally and it's like super creative. I love the Queen of Cups. It's a shoulder to lean on, where if you want to speak to someone, this is an ear that will listen. You normally, right? Because remember, cards have ups and downs. She represents caring about something quite a bit. So, like, again, for some Saggies, you might just be a little more tender than you normally are. Maybe you're just emotionally more perceptible to things going on around you. If you're an empathetic person and you're sensitive to energy, the Queen of Cups tells me all of that is heightened. So it's like I'm feeling things deeper and I'm, more sentimental than I normally am. So we'll take a look at her. The downside of the Queen of Cups, though, before we get into the Queen of Swords, this energy can sometimes suppress, where it could feel something so strong that it doesn't want to speak about it, it doesn't want to share it. And with the Queen of Cups, it's so intense that if you suppress, at some point it will explode forth. So we want to keep a close eye on her. Moving to the center, we have a different flavor, right? Like we do again have an internal aspect of the suit, but we already talked about the swords and the pragmatic approach. Whereas the Queen of Cups is feeling her way through something. The Queen of Swords is thinking her way out of something or thinking her way through a problem where it's like, hey, let's think about this logically. I think in any situation, there's room for both. I think that's always the best way to go, where it's like, yeah, use a little bit of the emotion, but also use a little bit of logic. It's all about that middle path. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. But the Queen of Swords, straightforward, honest, to the point. There is no filter on this energy. And something I know about Saggies, when you think something, you say it, right? Like this is an unfiltered type of vibe. If you're not connected to an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, the Queen of Swords is great for communication. Whereas like this one's suppressing, this one's letting it out. But we also have this heart mind, like what I feel and what I think aren't lining up. The downside to the Queen of Swords is the fact that she could be very stern, very sharp, very serious. Sometimes she could be hurtful with her words. So in this time, watch out. You might accidentally hurt a few feelings with her. Or she could just represent a serious situation. Now, moving to the back end is the card that we want to watch closest throughout this whole entire reading. We have the Devil. And as I mentioned, this showed up in the Aries reading. If you have Capricorn placements, maybe this is it showing up here. If you're connected to a Capricorn, they could be showing up here. If you're a Capricorn cross watching, don't be mad that you have the devil. It's only due to the goat symbolism. But when I think of the devil in the positive aspect, it does tie heavily into all that material world stuff we were speaking about earlier. So it's great for work, it's great for career, it's great for money, it's great for pleasurable earthly types of experiences. So there could be areas of temptation that you might be going through. But the downside to the devil, sometimes it's an energy that feels stuck. This can represent addictive qualities, addictive tendencies. It could represent toxicity. It could represent jealousy and possessiveness. So it could be a problem for sure, or a situation that should be taken seriously. But the big thing with the devil energy is like once it's in, it's in. It's like opening Pandora's box, right? Like once this devil energy is around, it's going to stick around for a while. So we want to see. I mean, is there some problem solving going on potentially? But I want to dive deeper on all of it, Sagi. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the Queen of Cups. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Sagi, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Queen of Cups time. What is she doing here? There's the Queen of Cups here. Okay, that was quick. Okay, so this energy, it's peculiar because it's not miserable, but it's also not content, if that makes sense. Where it's like, I mean, nothing's bad, but I'm not over the moon about it. There's like a certain neutrality that I'm picking up here. Now, for if we put that message to the side, there could be a portion of you with the Queen of Cups, Nine of Cups in reverse. You could be very, very, in this time, not more secretive, or someone could be a little more secretive, but a little more guarded about what I'm thinking and feeling. Like that's the vibe here, where it's like I'm not just going to let everyone know what's on my mind. Like uh, there is this certain guarded energy I'm picking up. I don't want to say it's emotionally unavailable, but it's just an energy where it's like, yeah, no, I'm not opening up about this. So I do have this little bit of suppression happening here in the front. Usually the Nine of Cups is an energy that's open and it's welcoming. It's a win, victory. It's having a good time. It's like, hey, I have plenty of cups. Do you want one? In reverse, it's like, go away. Like, no, you cannot have one of my cups. I'm not seeing any visitors right now. So yeah, the main two things I'm picking up here in the front, there is like this little bit of private or avoidance or just quiet type of energy here, where it's like I'm just going to keep this to myself. So there is the little bit of secretive energy, but I also have this neutrality where it's like I'm not miserable, but things could be better. So like let's keep going. I don't think that's the whole reading itself, but let's see what's up with the Queen of Swords. Why's the Queen of Swords here, please, for Sagi? Okay. Very similar, but different. Okay, this energy feels a little aggressive. I'm being very honest with you. So we have the Page of Wands in reverse underneath this Queen of Swords, and it's like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to turn my back to it. It's just very standoffish here. The Page of Wands is usually a card. It's one of our fire sign power cards here. Usually it's open, it's speaking, it's letting the energy flow, very similar to this guy. Um, they're big cards of communication, right? And they're huge cards of knowledge acquisition. So when I see it in reverse underneath the Queen of Swords, this energy does feel, it's like I'm pissed, like I'm mad at you. I don't want to talk to you. It's giving me that kind of vibe. There is like this certain little ignoring energy that's going on. So again, I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen for all of you, right? Remember, every tarot reading is like a weather forecast for us. We're just seeing how energy is flowing. But there is some funkiness around communication, where it's like this one is kind of being secretive and standoffish, and this one is like, all right, fine, you want to be that way, then let's be that way. But this energy does feel a little pissed. And they're both in a similar energy, but they're doing it in different ways, if that makes sense. So there could be someone around you where you're both in a similar energy, but you're handling it in different ways, but it's the same net result either way. There's like this funky energy around communication. So watch out for any issues, situations that pop up due to miscommunications or lack of communication. That could be a big thing. So again, serious important issues or problems could arise due to that. Let's keep going to the devil. Let's see, because that's what I've been wanting to get to since it popped out. So maybe that'll tell us the root cause here. But this energy does feel a little aggressive, angry, mad. Let's go in on the devil. What's the devil here? Thank you. All right. So we have the Six of Cups in reverse. This is something that's still unresolved or unfinished. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups in the upright underneath this devil. So for a lot of Saggies, there could be some situation that you're dealing with or something you have dealt with where it's like, no, this energy is still with me. I still have an energetic attachment to it. It just, to me, it feels like unfinished business or an unfinished situation. Whether it ties into all this stuff right now or not, very hyper specific. If you're not having communication issues with somebody with these energies, it's like, I don't talk to this person right now, but I miss them. I don't know why that's showing up. It's like, we're not talking, but I miss them. That's very specific for some of you. But yeah, the devil, remember, that's ingrained energy. That's an energy that's not going anywhere. And the Six of Cups is a card of the past, it's a card of history. Sometimes it's an energy that returns. So with the devil in this, it's like, hey, back again, Saggy. So either the unfinished business or something comes back around again, whether it's like with work things or personal relationships. It's like, yeah, it's like the same thing happens every time. It's like I'm running in a hamster wheel, which is odd. Now, I do believe that we're all creator beings and we can always change it. We could always jump off the hamster wheel, right? With the right perspectives. But that's just how it feels to me, like unfinished business or an unfinished situation. Whether you're talking to the person or not, doesn't matter. The energy is like lingering. But let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. Obviously, for a lot of Sagittarius going through work things, watch out with coworkers and stuff like that, because we seem to be more focused on interpersonal and communication things this week. So, position number one, we have the Queen of Cups with the Nine of Cups in reverse underneath it. So, it doesn't feel miserable. It's not over the moon. It feels very neutral here, where it's like, it's just blah type of energy. But it also does have this little secretive quality where it's like, yeah, I'm not opening up about that. I'm not ready to speak about that. I'm not letting someone in regarding this situation. It's just very guarded. In the center, we have the Queen of Swords with the Page of Wands in reverse. It's like, okay, you want to be secretive? I could be secretive too. Or you don't want to speak about it? I won't speak about it either. It's like tit for tat. I'm also getting this vibe where it could be someone that's like a little aggressive or angry about something. I'm not saying whether they have a right to be or not, but the energy to me feels like its feathers are ruffled indeed. So watch out for any people that are acting a little pissed. On the back end, we have the devil with the Six of Cups. There's still a very live, energetic connection here, whether it's dealing with this situation or something completely different. When I see the devil in the Six of Cups, it is strongly pointing out some unfinished business. So whether it's something that you felt, whether it's a piece of baggage, we all have baggage, right? This to me is like there's a situation that is unfinished that is still lingering with me for one reason or another, even if I can't put my finger on it. So please take a screenshot. Yeah, watch out for things popping back up too, those cycles returning. But yeah, take a screenshot if you want to look into them further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, they could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card going. What do we got? What do we got for Saggy? Thank you. Yeah, Three of Swords. This is a very common card to see in the shadows. It's like a hybrid mixture of all this stuff we have here in the front. Now, the Three of Swords itself, I always say it's on a spectrum. It could be anything. Like for some of you, it could just be a little bit of gloominess, might be feeling a little down, might have that just stone face type of energy to you in this time, and there's nothing wrong with it. But this can also represent pain and heartbreak and baggage, like we were talking about here on the back end. So just watch out for that. Again, it is what it is, right? The Three of Swords is an energy that's going to be there until you deal with it at some point. Now, I'm not saying in this point you have to do some deep soul cleansing. Some of you might, but I'm not saying you have to do soul cleansing shadow work or anything like that. All really depends on the perspective, like we said here on the back end. But this is an energy that does still feel like it lingers for some reason. So there is still something lingering, and it will until it is work through. So we're just going to put it down right there, Saggy. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details. The February subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, you could book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could have a little chat. My February calendar is up, so go check that out. They usually go pretty quick. But for the February subscriber surprise, we're doing a nice different style this month. We're doing a winner's choice. So the winners, which will be 3, will have their choice of the Tarot of the Owls, the Gilded Tarot Royale, or a handmade crystal pendant from my shop, mastermetaphysics.com, once again. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards we saw in this week's reading, which one caught your attention the most, whether it really inspired you or hit you right in your feelings. Anyone that stood out to you, and you'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.